What is going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadski, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. And in today's video, finally today, they've released the Kizaru Forest of Training Monkey Training Forest on Globe, which is awesome. You know, it's been a while since we've had a training forest. The last one we had, which was what? The Law Forest, which was actually quite a while ago when you think about it. It was quite a while ago. So seeing this on Global is actually really awesome. This ship, if you guys don't know what it does, it is a shooter boosting ship. It's a very good ship. It is, I think, better than the Ace ship. The only difference that the Ace ship has, like any benefit that the Ace ship has over this specific ship, is the fact that it gives you like an extra, I think it's like an extra like 1% health or 10% health or something like that. It's really minuscule, but the effects that the Kizaru ship gives you is definitely a lot more beneficial than the Ace ship. So this is probably going to be the most primary ship that a lot of shooter teams are going to use. And I'm just showing you guys the clip right now of the team I am using. Of course, I'm using a Tansky Luffy team. Tansky Luffy, very reliable sort of team to bring in a training forest. You know, you've got so many good free spirit subs at the moment. And I'm also using the Law ship. You could potentially sub it out for the Boa ship. In some instances, the Boa ship is definitely a lot better because you can only activate the Law special ship when you're under 20% health, which is very restrictive, but you do get a 10,000 heal, which is actually pretty awesome. So, you know, take it as you will. You can use the Boa ship, but I think overall, the Law ship will be a bit better, but I think you can still do this quite well with the Boa ship, no problems whatsoever. So, stage 14 is definitely where, like, the most hardest stage comes in, or before the boss stages, of course. This is, like, where it starts to get hard. Everything before stage 14 is, like, very simple, very straightforward. But here we have on stage 14, it is basically the exact same fight against the raid boss Kizaru that you had to fight against, you know, way back when, whenever you guys did that. So, yeah, this guy's pretty annoying. He does literally the exact same thing. He rewinds Dex character specials as he's preemptive, but he does it for 3 turns this time, so Dex characters cannot use their specials off the bat. He then will go ahead and convert your orbs into negative. He'll then go ahead and activate the defense limiter, the damage limiter against the 3 colors being Strength, Dex, and Quick. Then he also will blind you for 3 turns, and then he'll go ahead and despair your captain for 4 turns, and then he keeps repeating that over and over again. And when you do kill him, he will revive as well. He revives up to 30% of his max HP, and he then goes to a 2-turn cooldown. So it's literally the exact same as the raid boss form, except that this guy only has 1.9 million health. I believe the raid boss had close to 3 million or something like that. So yeah, this guy is essentially the exact same as the raid boss, but with a little bit less health. So it is quite annoying that you have to take on literally a raid boss while you are challenging this specific training forest. But anyways, once you make your way through that, this is like probably the most difficult stage, I would say. This is a stage where a lot of people will struggle with, because this specific stage, you really have to be careful, and it really depends on your team composition, because if your team is very heavily reliant on Strength, Dex, and Quick, this stage might be very difficult to get through just because of that damage limiter that he does have. So you kind of have to work around your attacks to make sure that he doesn't activate that damage limiter when you go ahead and trying to knock down his last 20%, because under 20% health, he will go ahead and deal 32,000 damage to your crew. So in most cases, a lot of teams will either lose a large chunk of their health or they will die. And he will attack you every single turn for nearly 6,000 damage, but of course with double Tansky Luffy, you have a ton of damage reduction, and this team does have max damage reduction sockets. So, you know, with this specific team, I think we've got up to, I think it's like 29%, 30%? It might be 35%, like, damage reduction just all the time, which is insane. Like, that's literally my favorite part of Tansky Luffy, is the fact that he has the passive 15% damage reduction all the time. So with double Tansky Luffy, I think it's like a 27% increase, or 27% damage reduction, and then on top of that, if you add the sockets, it ends up being around 35% or something like that. So it's really strong to have that constant damage reduction, constantly shaving damage off of the enemy attacks, which is really solid. And also you can activate his special whenever you want and get that 4 times boost, which is always nice and juicy. But there we go. I actually timed this pretty well here. I can go ahead and have all these orbs for the next turn, because we only activated 1 Tansky Luffy special. So on the next room here, here against the CP9 room, which again is going to be very, very annoying. You have the access to the second times kit Luffy, and because he gave you all those negative orbs in the previous turn, then you can actually use that to your advantage and use your Luffy special to make those orbs into positive orbs, which is quite nice. So the whole theory with this here is with this specific room in the CP9 room, each one of these CP9 units activates a different buff for their team, and when you kill that unit, their buff will disappear. So what will happen is that the Khalifa activates the damage limiter, so you definitely want to kill her off first, because she will limit all damage to 150,000, so anything above 150,000 damage you do to the enemy will be mitigated down by a large percentage. You have Kumadori, who will go ahead and up the enemy defense. You have, not Kumadori, Fukuro is going to go ahead and give the enemies damage reduction. You have Balluno, who recovers 50,000 HP to all units every single turn. And then you have the Jabra, who will go ahead and buff all of the enemy attacks by 1.5 times. So as long as you are killing a lot of enemies in the first 2 turns, then you're going to be fine. Balluno is the most ideal unit to stall on, because Balluno actually really doesn't do that much damage. He does, 11,000 damage every 3 turns. So as long as you are making sure that you're picking up a lot of your recovery orbs, and even using your specials when you need to, you do have access there to the Ivankov special and also the ship special as well. But remember, with the ship special, you have to be under 20%. So, as I said before, the Kuja Pirate ship is very, very good, and it probably would work really well. But I just used the Law ship in this instance, and it worked really well towards the end. You guys will see how close it was towards the end. But anyways, right here, I'm just going to be speeding up this stalling right now, because you have to stall a while to get all your specials back up, and I'll see you guys in the next room. So right before we move on to the next room, killing Balluno can be a little bit of a pain, so we're going to use our double time skip Luffys, who will be at stage 2 now, and this will give us access to a 3-turn orb boost, or orb, manipulation boost, and also his captain ability will buff all our units by 4 times for the next 3 turns, which means that the preemptive attack on stage 16 will give us at least 1 turn of like a full burst turn. So what we're going to do here is literally kill every single one of these pacifistas and leave one of them alive. Literally, it doesn't really matter which one you keep alive. I'm going to leave the yellow one alive just because I have 3 int characters, which means that on the turn where I need to move on to the next stage, it is going to be a little bit easier for me, as I do have 3 int characters. But if you do need to stall this stage with any other team, I would recommend leaving one alive that you can kill a lot easier. So if you have a majority of red characters, leave the Dex one alive, and etc, etc. It's, very, very simple. But once again, we are going to be doing some stalling, and I'll see you guys in the next stage. Once again, very similar to the previous stage, we're going to be using our double time skip Luffy special here on this room, so it'll give us 1 turn of burst on the last stage and allows us to kill this high defense pacifista on this stage as well, and also hoping for some good orb luck. I don't actually get the best orb luck on the next stage against Rob Lucci, Kaku, and also Spandam. So Lucci's going to be the most annoying one here. Lucci has 1.5, nearly 1.6 million health. We have Kaku, who has 700,000 health, and then Spandam, who has really, really high defense, and he only has 26 health, but like you literally can't pierce through that defense. And Spandam actually activates a combo shield every single turn, and he'll keep doing that until Lucci and Kaku are wiped out. When Lucci and Kaku are wiped out, you can go ahead and activate your specials or whatever, or basically we're going to be stalling because we're only using our Brook here to make sure that we have some damage for the following room. So we're only using the Brook here so that we can, you know, clear out this room as much as we can, and then we have the major boost in Shanks, and we also have the Sabo special for the following room as well. But we do want to try and stall as much as we possibly can on Spandam, making sure that we have enough health, but also making sure that, you know, we have at least a couple of turns charged on our specials, because we want to make sure that we can activate the Luffy special, at least stage 1 special on the next room. So we want to make sure that that is the case as well. Now, one thing to note about the next room that's very, very important is that we have, like, basically some Marines, and Smoker will go ahead and change your captain with one of your bottom row characters. Now, what will happen here is before the animation fully completes, you can exit the game and then re-enter the game to make sure that the right captain is activated as your captain. Now, in my circumstance here, I wanted to make sure that Ivankov was the right captain, so I think I had to do it once. I don't remember if I did or not, but I definitely, in some runs before I recorded the winning run, I definitely had to go ahead and reset the game to make sure that Ivankov was my selected captain. A couple of times Brook was the one that was selected, but as I said, you can exit the game before you enter that last stage, or before he actually completes his animation, and you can make sure that you get the right character as your captain, which is quite nice. Spandam, he actually does a lot of damage because he has one of those special abilities that cuts your health at the end of each turn. So as you can see, our health is like really, really low right here, but this is perfect opportunity here to activate the ship special, which, as I said, gives a full 10,000 health heal, which is very, very nice. And then we can go ahead and clear out Spandam, as our Luffy specials are going to be ready for the next turn. And then we move on to room 18, which, as I said, has a whole bunch of Marine characters. And here we have Smoker activating his special ability. And we'll go ahead and swap one of our captains. So Luffy is going to be swapped with someone on the bottom row. As I said, I want to make sure that Ivankov is my captain. And as I said, before that animation completes, where Ivankov is switched to the captain, you can exit the game to make sure that the right character is selected. But this is where we're going to go ahead and activate one of the Luffy specials, the one that's the captain, obviously, and we're going to use our Shanks and Sabo special to give us a major, major boost. And with this damage output, it's basically the same as Luffy being the captain, except that one of the Luffys hasn't activated their special. So this is still a really, really good opportunity here to clear out a lot of enemies. What I would recommend doing is trying to clear out Tashigi and clearing out Maynard as soon as possible. And I also think Smoker as well, because if you don't kill Smoker on that first turn, he changes your captain for like 5 turns. So you gotta be careful about that. You gotta be very, very careful. If his health is above 50%, he will do that. So now all we want to do is clear out the last character here, which is Bastille, and then we're going to stall on Sentomaru. We're going to stall on Sentomaru until our specials are pretty much ready to go, and then we're going to moving on to the second last stage, which is going to be against another room, which is full-on Navy characters. So I'll see you guys once the stalling is complete. So unfortunately, I actually cut that because the clip was getting extremely long on my phone, so I cut that out. But basically, it's the same as the other clips you've seen before, trying to stall, get as many meat orbs, and using all of our specials, the health healing specials, such as the ship, and also the Ivankov special, wherever needed. Whenever you need to do it, just activate it. But now we're on to this stage here. Now on this stage, once again, this is one of those stages that you can actually exit out of the game and come back in to make sure that the right characters are special sealed. So as you can see, 3 of my characters here are actually special sealed. Now I actually completely forgot about that, and I forgot to reset because I wanted to make sure either Brook or my Shanks was available so I could get a boost at least. But even without a boost, I actually had some pretty decent orbs and I was able to get through it. But if you have really bad orbs, then you maybe want to go ahead and try and do that to make sure that you have at least, you know, some damage output against these guys here. So the character that we're going to be stalling on here is going to be Onigumo. Once we stall on Onigumo, that will basically just be it. You're going to see it towards the end. I got extremely close to dying. I was extremely close to dying. I didn't think I was going to make it, but I was luckily enough, and I did make it through with just the skin of my teeth with my health and how much recovery I had. So it was very, very close. But definitely going to be careful about Garb. Garb will deal 30,000 damage, fixed damage, so you cannot use damage reducers against him when he's under 30% health. So you're going to be very, very careful about that. Garp himself has 1.2 million health, Onigumo has 860, but the thing about Onigumo, even though we are stalling on him, he does 12,000 damage every 2 turns. So he does a ton of damage. So this is going to be like the make it or break it stage right here. If you make it to this point, this is like the last real hurdle before you really clear the dungeon, because Onigumo here is extremely difficult because you have to make sure you're getting some pretty lucky recovery orbs pop up with this specific team, because he literally just does too much damage. If he did, you know, maybe 8,000 damage, I think this would be a whole lot easier, but because he does 12,000 damage every 2 turns, it's extremely hard to stall on this guy. Especially when you use your Vankov special already and you have to wait for your healing specials to get back up. It is really stressful, so seeing recovery orbs pop up is always really good, and make sure that that you are, you know, stalling correctly. Make sure that all your specials are up before you end up killing Onigumo, and then you'll be good to go. So anyways, I'll leave you guys with the stalling, and I'll see you guys on the final stage against Kizaru. Now finally we've killed Onigumo, but what he'll do is he'll make it a higher chance for you to get negative orbs for the next 30 turns. So this is actually really good for Timeskip Luffy in particular, because he can make those negative orbs become matching orbs. The only unit that really will struggle to get a matching orb is going to be Sabo, because his negative orb is strength, whereas all the other ones will be turned to positive when you activate your Timeskip Luffy special. But here we have Legend Kizaru as the final boss. He'll go ahead and he's going to preemptively blind you and despair you. So the blind is 2 turns, the despair is 5 turns. After the first turn, he will cancel all special effects, so don't activate anything on this first turn, otherwise it will be cleared if it's a multi-turn special. Just be careful about that one. Then after the second turn, he's actually going to go ahead and recovery invalid you, or recovery seal you. So once again, after that, you know, you won't be able to heal for the next 2 turns, and he just continuously does bad shit over and over and over again. Under 50%, he will do 50,000 damage to your crew and randomly convert your orbs. Then under 20%, he does 100,000 damage to your crew, so be very careful about that. But anyways, that is going to conclude this video, guys. Hopefully you have enjoyed this video, and if you guys have enjoyed it, make sure to smack the like button down below. And if you want to stay up to date with all the content I post on my channel, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But other than that, guys, I will see you guys within the next video.